we're gonna cut along one seam. So here we have the bottom of the t-shirt. I'm gonna pick one seam or one side, and I am going to take that I've got the folded end closest to me. We're just gonna cut all the way to almost the edge, like maybe a half inch or an inch away from the edge. And you can cut your strips to be however big you want your fabric to be, or your yarn. A time. All right, top. So I'm gonna take this first one here and I'm gonna cut here, and then I'm gonna go down to the bottom and I'm gonna skip this one and I'm going to cut here, right here. And then I'm gonna go back to the top and I'm gonna skip this one and I'm gonna cut here. It's like every other pattern. We're keeping it folded so we don't have this big, long, scary piece of our little octopus fabric. And I'm gonna do it here for you, not in fast motion. You're just going to trim this piece. This was the first one, so I'm leaving this bottom one, and then I'm trimming this second piece. Now I see these two are lined up, so these two on top are lined up, and then I trim. So basically it has two pieces connected. This one has two pieces connected. I could do all the top ones first, or the bottom ones, as long as you keep them lined up. You can paper clip them so you don't get confused. And then I could make sure that they're doing the opposite. So I think I might finish, I would cut here because this piece has two, and then I would cut here and I have one left. So since these two, sorry, I keep hitting my iPad. So I have two here, the bottom, there's two, top, there's two, bottom, there's two. I'm going to cut. All right, this top had two, here's two. Here on the bottom, there's two, and I cut the top. So now that I have finished cutting all of these pieces, I should have one long piece of zigzag t-shirt fabric. Because of how we cut it, it should be able to stay connected. It's every other two pieces. You want two pieces to stay connected, top and bottom. And now that they're all cut, I can do that special pulling trick And so my ends are skinnier and tighter instead of long and wide. Okay, so the last thing we need to do so we end up with a ball of yarn is to attach our 3 pieces. So remember, we had our 2 pieces from the rectangles that we cut from the top of our shirt, and we have that really big piece from the bottom of our shirt. So we need to attach the ends of our fabric together, and to do this we're going to find the end. Whew, that was actually really easy. Sometimes it can be a hunt for the end. So here I've got an end of my really big piece of fabric from the bottom. So now what we want to do is we want to be able to cut a hole in the middle here, kind of like a little buttonhole. And to do that, we're going to fold this over just a little bit and take our scissors, and we're going to make a little chomp here. And now we have a nice little hole. And we're gonna find an end. Luckily, this is super easy. I'm really happy with that. I'm gonna find an end. This is a little smaller, but that's okay. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna fold this over here. So I have this little fold here. And on the end, I'm gonna take my scissors, a little chomp. So now I have 2 little buttonholes. I've got a buttonhole here and I have a buttonhole here. So this is my end of my big fabric. So I'm going to keep it steady, and I'm going to take this buttonhole, this end here of my smaller fabric, get this out of the way, and I'm going to take this one, I'm going to shove it through. So now I have kind of like an X, all right? And I'm going to hold this one here, and I'm going to find the end. Okay, not as easy this time. There it is. Okay, so now I'm going to find the end of the smaller side. So I've got one end here and the other is right here. I'm going to take this end and I'm going to shove it through, and then I'm going to pull. Try not to get confused, be gentle as well. If you need to kind of pull your pieces so they go through a little easier. Here we go, pull. And now I'm coming to these 2 little knots. I want to pull tight. And we're doing this so we don't have to use a sewing machine. This technique is helping us so we don't have to use a sewing machine at all, or like a needle and thread. So here I have 2 pieces connected, and I've got more yarn to add at the end. I will show you this one more time. So here I've got the end of one of the small rectangle pieces. I am going to fold it in half. Let's see if I can focus a little better. There we go. I'm going to fold this in half just a little bit. I'm going to make a little chomp. So now I have a little buttonhole, and I'm going to find the end of my last little rectangle piece here, and I'm going to fold this in half. Make a little chomp. Make my hole a little bigger. And then I'm going to take this piece right here and I'm going to shove it through. I've got my little X here, you see that? And now I need to find the end of my last piece, which is right here, and I'm going to push that through. And again, try not to get confused and be gentle with pulling your fabric. Uh-oh, it's going the wrong way. Whew. Pull your fabric through. Look at all that shedding. Whew. And now I've got my 2 knots. They're gonna come together as I keep pulling. Maybe. Keep pulling. We wanna pull it a little tight. And again, this technique so we don't have to use any sewing machines or needle and thread. We have a huge amount of t-shirt yarn here. And now all that's left is to ball it up. There you have it, t-shirt yarn. And you can use this for anything really, weaving, braiding, anything that you can think of using yarn with, you can use this t-shirt yarn. So hold on to this, we're going to be saving it for a later project.